American Marine veteran Trevor Reed is back home after spending nearly 3 years in a Russian prison. Reed was visiting his girlfriend in Moscow in 2019 when Russian authorities say he started a fight during a night of drinking and assaulted a police officer. Reed denies those claims. Reed was released as part of a prisoner swap in exchange for a Russian pilot who'd been convicted in the United States of drug trafficking. Video from Russian state TV shows the moment the swap took place on an aircraft tarmac in Turkey. Trevor Reed's parents described the reunion to World News Tonight anchor David Muir.
You've now seen the images that the world has seen of your son being freed, but I know he must have looked a lot different to you. What did you make of what you saw?
He looked horrible. When he got out of the FSB van, he looked like he could hardly walk. He looked like he'd been walking shackled, and they had to help him get into the FSB jet. So we were, in fact, when we both saw that video this morning the first time, we started crying.
I'll bet you can just imagine. Good news. And joining us now, Texas Republican Congressman August Pfluger, who has been monitoring this, obviously very close on this. Trevor Reed, Congressman, is one of your constituents. We're glad you're here to be with us to talk about it. And I guess you met him last night on the tarmac in Texas. What was that like?
Terry, it was incredible. Just to see the joy on everyone's faces. Obviously, concerns about his health, and that's exactly why I believe we got him home. But, you know, the sense of patriotism over politics last night, this is a big moment in our country's history because you know, the geopolitical environment that we see in Russia with the invasion of Ukraine and all the different factors surrounding this. But to actually see a patriot, a Marine, and a Texan return home and see his feet hit that tarmac and the family be able to reunify was incredibly important for our country and a joyous moment for all involved.
That's a great point. It's something we can all be happy about. But I do understand. Well, first, Trevor was detained in Russia for, I guess, almost 1,000 days. His family has said they started crying when they saw the shape he was in. You mentioned that. How's he doing? What's he been through physically and mentally?
Well, there's no question that it's been just a huge struggle mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and it will take some time to get him back reintegrated. And that's obviously the most important thing is that his wellness and his health are put first. But this is, Terry, I think this is why, you know, when I started leading the bipartisan, bicameral effort, I wanted every single person in Congress, all 435 representatives, all 100 senators to know his name, to know his story, and to understand the condition he was in, and to be able to put the pressure on the White House. And that's exactly what happens when we all come together in a bipartisan way. I have to thank President Biden for his effort to get him home. He did the right thing. He put patriotism over politics, and now we have a Marine and a patriot home to Texas, reunified with his family.
You know, I just want to say it's great to hear a proud conservative Republican like yourself praising the Democratic president on this issue. That is something that we don't hear a lot. But let me ask you about how the administration handled this. Reed's family was protesting his release outside the White House about a month ago. And at this moment, when the Biden administration of the United States pouring weapons into Ukraine, weapons for Ukrainians to kill Russians with, it is a remarkable thing that this has been accomplished, that the release of Trevor Reed was accomplished. How do you think that went down?
Well, you know, it's obviously behind the scenes, and we don't know all the details. And you bring up a good point. I mean, there were lots of periods of frustration with the movement on these and similar issues like Paul Whelan. There will be frustrations. But for me, somebody who is a proud conservative, I mean, there are plenty of areas that I've been critical on the president, and I will continue to do that for what I think is right. However, today is a day of celebration, and they needed the time and the space to work behind the scenes. That's what they did. We're thankful that he's home. You know, President Biden has made the right choice here. I hope in other areas that he will make the right choice as well. But there's other Americans. We should leave no American behind enemy lines, or no American in a foreign country without doing everything we possibly can to get them home. And I think that's the lesson here, is that our country is special. We don't leave anyone behind. And we really need the president to focus on that right now and to do everything possible for those still remaining outside of our country.
Absolutely. And Congressman, if I could just take a step back to the wider issue of Russia in Ukraine. Today, President Biden did call for an additional $33 billion in aid for Ukraine. As I say, our country's just been pouring weapons, now heavy weapons, into the Ukrainian military, helping them in that fight. What do you make of this current proposal? Is it enough? Is it something you can support?
Well, we'll have to look at the details. And, you know, I think everyone is familiar with the fact that I spent time in Ukraine in January, late January, met with President Zelensky. I have been calling for aid to Ukraine for months. In fact, since the beginning of my term, first term last year, have been calling for sanctions on Nord Stream. And I think the lesson here is that we cannot get to a point where our deterrence doesn't work and we have an aggressor who doesn't respect the rule of law. That's what happened with Russia. And we can't afford to have that happen in Taiwan. So we have to move forward in a very aggressive way for our partners and allies so that would-be aggressors like Russia or China don't make these mistakes where it really upends our value system, and our partners and allies are undermined as a result. And it hurts our own national security. That's the lesson we need to learn and move forward very strong with a strong deterrent posture.
It sure does seem like the past 8 weeks have really changed policy and politics and power around the world. Congressman August Pfluger, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.